Good morning. My name is Sarah Smith. I am the Director of Community and Government Relations here at Grinnell College, and excited to partner every week with a group of individuals who help me run the bucket courses. I guess we call ourselves the CEC still. I'm not sure. We're still figuring out who we are, but a bucket course committee for sure that I partner with every single week to bring you the bucket courses. A couple reminders before we get started. If you have a cell phone, if you could silence it, that would be wonderful. And then if you do have a T-loop or T-coil, please turn that on because we do have that here in this space. And then you are welcome to stay afterwards and mingle and enjoy before you get on with your day as well. Also in this new space, I do want to remind you, for this one, we're not taking a break. Please feel free to get up, get refreshments during the program, and then restrooms are actually located right behind this white wall, this projector screen wall on my left around the way, so you can use those at any time as well. So, welcome, thank you everyone. And thank you for your patience as we figured out how to simply share a Canva, I can't think of it, a presentation. That was a tough one for us this morning. So this morning I am very excited to welcome Erin Bustin, who is the director of the Grinnell School of Music. She will present a little bit of, obviously, about the organization itself for a bit of time, and then, as you can see, next to the podium, there's a piano today. Maybe this is kind of personal. I wanted to have some music, well, because it's the Grinnell School of Music. So we're going to have a sing-along. Erin's brought some music, and we're going to do a sing-along. I see some frowns. No, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great. And really appreciate this morning, honestly, just the gift of music in our lives. So could you please help me welcome Erin Bustin.
Thanks, everyone. As Sarah said, thanks for your patience. This worked really beautifully on my computer this morning, so I'm really thrilled to be here. Today, I just want to tell you a little bit about our program, how we got where we are and where we're going. And as Sarah mentioned, we will start with some singing, or end with some singing. So don't worry, this is super low-key. We do this for the idea of the whole sing-along concept is that it is people who may be at every level of music. So you can mumble along or sing out as loud and strong as you want, and I will teach it to you, and I think it's something most of you will know. So welcome. You can flick ahead, Sarah. Thank you. And then one more. So a little bit about us. We are a 501c3 nonprofit. Community music school in Grinnell, and we provide professional music instruction to children and adults at all levels, and we emphasize participatory community music making, such as said sing-along, in addition to excellence in performance, and we provide accessible opportunities for all ages. Yep, you're good. Oh, sorry. So some of the things we have set out to do here in our mission and vision are to foster excellence in performance. I do want to reiterate that we want to create excellent musicians whenever a musician is trying to achieve a certain level, but we also want to foster joyful, lifelong recreational music making. So we really look at both of those things as going hand in hand. We offer private and group lessons, classes, workshops, summer programs, and more for all ages and skill levels, and in a variety of styles and instruments. So we are not a Suzuki school or a piano school. We try to meet the need of our community and provide what we can for the demands of our students. Get into the meaty stuff here now, but we want to secure scholarship funding to ensure that no student, child, youth, or adult is ever excluded because of their ability to pay. We try to foster an inclusive, welcoming, and accessible space and culture. We want to ensure that professional musicians and arts administrators are fairly compensated. And we want to contribute to the local economy by encouraging pedestrian traffic with our new building downtown, commercial activity, and engagement with other community organizations. want to draw special attention to 3 core principles behind everything we do at the Grinnell School of Music. These have been foundational since we first imagined a community music school in Grinnell, and I've hinted at them a little bit already. But the first one is regional accessibility. No one should have to drive an hour or more for music lessons, and before the Grinnell School of Music opened, that was a reality for many of our community. So we try to bring the big city programs right here to Grinnell and to our surrounding communities. I'm gonna go over to the right first, but fair pay. Our community is stronger and more vibrant when artists live and work here. Artists should not be starving. The whole starving artist thing is a romantic idea that's actually not very romantic. We create opportunities for local musicians and compensate them fairly for their work because we want them to live and work here in Grinnell. And financial support. Music does not discriminate, and neither do we, so therefore we offer pay what you can options for all of our programs. And I will talk a lot about this as we go because it is something pretty unique. So I know some of you know how we got here, but for those of you who have not, who are maybe new to town or have not been aware of our campaign the past 5+ years, I just want to give a little bit of a history of how we got to a point where in Grinnell, a community of 9,000, we are incredibly lucky to even have something like a school of music. Thank you. Just in case my power goes out. So it's been quite a journey. We, first of all, decided to identify a need, or we identified a need. We didn't really decide to, we just did. In 2017, you can flick ahead, Sarah. In 2017, I was getting requested a lot. I'd moved to Grinnell a few years prior to that, and I was getting requests a lot from local parents to conduct a children's choir because people knew I sang and people knew that I had done voice lessons and that I was a lifelong chorister and professional chorister in the past. And I said, I have a young baby and all of these things. It's not the time, but they twisted my arm and I'm really glad they did. And I owe this credit to Georgiana Robinson and Peggy Parker, who were the other parents involved. They said, we don't have a children's choir here in Grinnell. And so we started one. We did not then have an organizational home, and so the GCC at the beginning was a non-denominational education and outreach program of the Grinnell United Church of Christ. Luckily, under their bylaws, they had already the amazing Grinnell UCC Community Preschool, which said, our church believes in promoting education and outreach opportunities in our community, and therefore we support this preschool. And so we were able to be like, and a children's choir. And we still rehearse there to this day, even though now the children's choir is a part of the Grinnell School of Music. But I really do think of that as kind of the beginning of this, because we started to identify just how much desire there was for this kind of program in Grinnell. So then, fast forward a couple of years, as the choir grows and is doing really well, I keep getting asked, hey, do you do voice lessons? And I say, well, sure. So I was taking on some voice lessons at the time. I had worked in arts management prior to moving to Grinnell, but have a couple of degrees in singing, and so I was like, well, yeah, I can teach some voice lessons. But then I kept getting asked, what about piano teachers? I said, well, yeah, there are a few piano teachers in the area. I'm sure some of those names are known to you, Peggy Parker, Kathy, Connor, but many of them taught out of their living rooms, didn't have an online presence, were hard to find unless you sort of knew who they were. But I was trying to direct people that way. And then I also got, well, what about clarinet lessons? And I was like, I don't, but I can try to hook you up, I guess. I can reach through my personal and professional networks. So there really became obvious that there was a need for a centralized source of information and potentially for teachers to have a place to do this. Because I was also talking to musicians who were going, oh yeah, I'd love to teach a little more, but my house is a mess. I don't really want kids coming into my living room, all of these kinds of things. So I was gathering this information slowly, and in 2019, I decided to make it official and open a voice studio, just my own voice studio, to try to test the waters to see that this was a proof of concept, basically as a proof of concept business model, thinking, okay, well, if I can make a voice studio work, then maybe there's a case to be made for a school of music eventually. So great, I said I'm going to accept students, and I was full. I had 12 students within minutes, and then we pivoted to online-only lessons within months. So 2020 was a rough year for music, as you know. The children's choir moved online, and I started teaching voice lessons online, and we kind of put things on, not really on hold. Things were happening, but it was sort of like what, when, and where, and who knows how long this will be. So then in 2021, as vaccinations became available and things started to reopen, I thought I no longer want to teach voice lessons out of my home, coming out of this pandemic. And I'm talking to these other teachers who don't want to do that. So what if I rent a space and I have associate teachers under this Studio E Grinnell business? And so we did that. So the space, which is now Jay's Deli, was our first space. And Richard Tanimoto was one of our original teachers early on. He's over here now. Julie Bai, myself, Alex Aldridge was teaching guitar. So we kind of started offering a few different lessons. And at the same time, I became a licensed Music Together Center. And I'll talk more about that program in a little while. And we can switch ahead there. So we start teaching out of our new space, and at the same time, actually even before I rented that space, I had looked at what was Michael's restaurant. And Teresa Palliai, who then owned the building, generously showed me the building and said, yeah, we'd like to sell it. It had been completely gutted, and it was an open concrete hole, essentially. It had walls. That was it. But I stood in that room with Teresa in 2021 and thought, and she helped me imagine what it could be. And we thought, this could be a really amazing creative space. So I knew that as a small business was never going to be possible. And at the same time was continuing to test this proof of concept for a community music school that was a nonprofit. So in 2022, we officially incorporated as Grinnell School of Music and started putting together a board of directors. We kept sort of studying. We were watching what Studio E Grinnell was doing and whether it was making money, and it was paying its bills at the end of each month. And I will say for any of you who are entrepreneurs, the fact that as a small business we were in the black most months is actually pretty impressive, given that we had. I mean, my husband's here, he knows how little startup money we had to put into it. We bought some IKEA furniture and a free piano and got up and running. And so, we were watching this, and then we signed a contract to purchase 725th Avenue. So this was a big risk, and I had a very amazingly dedicated board of directors, and some of you in this room were part of those first people that we talked to and said, hey, if we need to put some money on this building, we don't even have our 501c3 profit yet, but we're pretty sure we will, and Studio E Grinnell is going really well. And some of you wrote checks, and that's amazing. And so we contracted to purchase 725th Avenue, and we soft launched a capital campaign. So we were talking to people in the community, we were talking to businesses, investors, Grinnell College, and saying, we want to do this, are you in? And amazingly, a lot of people were. So we kept teaching. In 2022, all of this was happening and we were teaching. We were compiling a growing list of students. At that point, we actually had a wait list because we had one teaching room over at Studio E Grinnell. But we never stopped doing our mission, even though we weren't up and running as Grinnell School of Music yet. And then in 2023, we finally received our 501c3 nonprofit status, and we publicly launched a capital campaign, and we combined the two organizations. So Studio E Grinnell LLC donated all of its assets to, which again, was mostly a client list and a reputation and a business model, but we donated those assets to the Grinnell School of Music, and we kept going with our capital campaign, and in 2024, construction began at 725th Avenue. And then we were up and running on time and on budget, which I feel like we're gonna brag about that for a little while yet. So as you can see, one of the major benefits of our campaign was to redevelop and rehabilitate a downtown building. When Michael's closed due to the health of its previous owner in 2019, it sat empty. It was purchased by the Palliai family, and they thought about maybe doing something in there, but then the pandemic hit. All of these things happened, and and it created an opportunity for us. And so now this building is vibrant and beautiful and busy. I was talking to Rick Ramsey yesterday, because he's our across the street neighbor, and he was just commenting on how much he loves on a Saturday morning to sit in Ramsey Weeks and watch as we have, about 30 children, 0 to 5, traipse in and out that every Saturday morning. So it's quite a big difference. Next one? Yeah, so I just want to read the words of one of our earliest parents who had children in music together when we were over at Studio E Grinnell. And she says, "The Grinnell School of Music just opened, and it's already a key part of our family's life. I thought it was going to be all about music lessons, which are great, but it goes way beyond that too, with group classes for every age and all different styles of creativity. I am just happy every time I walk in the door, because I know this is a place that is connecting kids with music, which connects them to themselves and others." And here's just some more photos of the building. If you haven't, please come visit. I love to show it off. I love to show people around. So quite a difference from Michael's restaurant, if that was the last time you were in there, and from the empty block building that we purchased. So we bought a building, but what goes in it? I want to talk a little bit about our core programs. So we've kind of identified what are the areas where we're going to really focus on the next little while. And we're still early in that transition from campaign mode and building to operating in the new space. And we're enjoying a lot of growth, and we're gathering a lot of data about the community's needs and wants, and testing out different programs. But these programs that I'm about to tell you about are what we have identified as kind of our core. And Liz, the quote I read from Liz mentioned this, but one of the biggest challenges as we do that is raising awareness that we are more than just music lessons. A lot of people think, oh, great, piano lessons. We are so much more than that. We are confident at this point that if you are searching for private piano or guitar lessons, you'll probably find us. But we are working on growing awareness of these other core programs, as well as developing additional programs to engage more community members of all ages. But as I mentioned, that starts with these ones. You can go ahead. So our first and most obvious program is our one-on-one or private lessons. They are, of course, the foundation of our activities and always will be. So even though I'm going to talk a lot about other programs we want to develop, we anticipate that the first and foremost, the demand will be for music lessons. We currently offer a lot of instruments. Bass, bassoon, clarinet, drums, fiddle or violin, flute, guitar, oboe, organ, piano, saxophone, ukulele, and voice and singing. So that's quite an impressive list for a small town. And if you are curious, which you may be, as to why we do or do not offer certain lessons, basically as of now, this is about demand. So if somebody comes to me as a bassoon teacher and says, "Hey, I would love to teach for you," I can teach full-time. I cannot promise you a full-time or even 4 bassoon students in Grinnell. And I can't guarantee that I could even book them all on the day that you're available. But so I'm not going to go out and have that conversation. I'm not going to go out and recruit a full-time bassoon teacher. But what I am going to do is if a student comes and says, "Hey, I'm looking for bassoon lessons," I can then use our network and try to match them with a bassoon teacher. That person may or may not live in Grinnell. We might bring them from, see if they'll be willing to come from Des Moines or Iowa City or Ames or somewhere else. But our goal is to match a student with an appropriate teacher for what they are looking for. So that's essentially why this list is what it is. It's who we have currently and what the students and families that approach us are looking for. And then a quick quote about one-on-one lessons, which I think is awesome, is "Taking drum lessons at the Grinnell School of Music has been the highlight of my senior year." This is from a Grinnell College student who also took music lessons on campus, but if you're not a music major, you can only take one private lesson, and she really wanted to add drums, and so she came to us, and as she said, it was the highlight of her senior year. And then quickly by the numbers of our private lessons, we currently have 15 instructors on our roster. We have 80 current private lesson students, that's right now active today. The children from among those students represent 4 different school districts, as well as the Christian school and many homeschoolers. And 20% of our private lesson students are adult students. Our next core program is Music Together. This is a really wonderful program, and I have a soft spot in my heart for this. It focuses on fostering natural musicality through play-based, non-performance-oriented classes featuring songs, chants, instruments, play, and movement. And it is primarily for children ages 0 to 5. The curriculum goes to 0 to 8, and we are currently offering mixed age classes for 0 to 5. This is a world-renowned curriculum that we are one of only a few licensed Music Together centers in Iowa. Within a 75-mile radius, you will find one in Iowa City and one in Cedar Rapids. There was one in Des Moines, but it has not offered classes for at least 6 years. We started in summer 2021 outside with 9 families, and our recent winter semester we had 22 families enrolled, so that's about 40 kids. And since 2021, 199 families, or 199 children have taken Music Together. So some of those, may have taken 3 semesters, and that counts 3 times because I have no other way of counting it, but 199 times people have enjoyed Music Together. And then another quick quote about Music Together from a parent. The Music Together program has been such a special part of our week. Music is such an important building block of development, and despite being a beautiful aspect of life all on its own accord, it lends itself to greater understanding in other subjects as well. I particularly value the tech-free time engaging with my child and appreciate the way the music of other cultures is integrated into classes. My hope is to enroll my family for years to come. And indeed, we have families who now are on baby number 3 or expecting baby number 3, and so have been in Music Together since 2021 and will continue for potentially another 5 years. The next of our core programs is the exploratory band programs for children ages 4 to 6 and 6 to 8. And these are a program of the Brooklyn Music Factory, and that's Brooklyn, New York, not Brooklyn, Iowa. It would be great if we had partners in Brooklyn, Iowa that were doing this kind of thing, and we hope to expand to working more in Brooklyn as well. But this is a really big, huge music school in Brooklyn, and they have selectively licensed their curriculum to a few schools across the country to use, and we are one of them. This pilot project, in which we are in year 2 of a 2-year pilot program, was sponsored by Grinnell College's mini grants program, so that program allowed us to purchase the instruments that we needed and train some teachers and get this up and running. And in the first 2 years, we have had 19 students go through this program. I want to show you a little video because when I tell you what the children do, it doesn't do as much as when I show you, but essentially, whoop. Really excited. You couldn't hear it that well.
Sorry.
It's okay, that's okay. What I really wanted you to see in this is how much absolute delight these children are having in making music and performing a song that they wrote. Oh, we found the volume. It's okay. No, we have another video, but you can click ahead. So
Okay.
Yeah. So in this class, children are learning the fundamentals of rhythm, melody, harmony, and songwriting through music games and age-appropriate introductions to keyboard, drums, vocals, and guitar. So they use real instruments, and one of the best benefits that we have as a center in licensing this program from the Brooklyn Music Factory is that they have games that they can play at home between classes that help reaffirm these concepts of rhythm, melody, harmony, and then every class they write their own songs. So as you can imagine, the subject of these songs is whatever 4 to 6-year-olds write songs about, and they're absolutely wonderful. But essentially the program gives them a chance to really explore independently, to discover the different instruments, which might help them decide what private lessons they want to take later on, and to work collaboratively to create music. So a quote about Mini Keys is, "We absolutely love Mini Keys. It has played a huge role in building our son's confidence, particularly when performing in front of small audiences. It's been such a positive and creative space for him to express himself and grow his passion for music. We're so lucky to have this program in Grinnell." Go ahead to the Children's Choir. So I referenced before the Grinnell Children's Choir, but I want to tell you a little bit more about it. It was founded in 2017 with Georgiana Robinson and Peggy Parker, and became an official program of Grinnell School of Music just recently in 2025. But as I referenced earlier, it would not, I really do think that without the Children's Choir, the Grinnell School of Music may not be where it is today. So we started in our very first year with an astounding 40 singers, and survived COVID with online choir mini lessons. We commissioned a new piece in 2019, which when we had to cancel the composer residency that would have saw a world premiere of that piece, we pivoted to a virtual choir performance, and we still did our world premiere even if it was online. It was originally for children ages grades K through 5 or 4, and then we expanded it to 5th grade. And the goal of the choir is to provide foundational musical training in an accessible fun group format and to complement other after-school programs. So we meet on Friday afternoons, and students can take the bus directly to our rehearsal space at the Grinnell UCC, and that helps keep participation more accessible. That's actually really important, right? If you have a working parent who can't drive you to this program and that program and this program, having something that the children can take a bus to, and that's part of why our location is so important, absolutely increases accessibility, especially for working families. So with the exception of 1 or 2 special events per year, all of our activities actually take place during that Friday afternoon and into the early evening time. So for example, our big end of term concerts are at 5:30 p.m. on Fridays. These children are little, and we want this to be an easy way for children to make music and families to participate. If we send them home and then say, come back at 7 to a 5-year-old on a Friday night for your concert, we know that's not gonna work. So the very format and the way that the choir was created was designed to make it accessible for families. I think it's really exciting to note that our first choir graduates who aged out of the choir in our first year in 4th grade in 2018 are graduating from high school this year, which has been really fun to watch them on stage in the Grinnell High School concerts. And at a recent Grinnell Middle School concert, I was sitting there, I was counting, I'm like, oh, there's these kids and these kids. And 5-ish, maybe 10% of the total choir kids in Grinnell Middle School went through Grinnell Children's Choir, but about 75% of the featured soloists, and I haven't actually seen the full list, but I've had 5 other parents talk to me this week about their children being selected for the honor choir. So about 75% of the kids that are being featured as soloists or selected to do honor choir or choosing to do these extra opportunities went through Grinnell Children's Choir. Actually in a real regrowing period for the Grinnell Children's Choir, and our numbers are smaller than they've ever been, which some days makes me want to crawl into a hole and cry. But I know that this is part of a larger trend. COVID decimated choral programs. As you may remember, singing was identified early on as a high-risk activity because of aerosols and all of these things. Of course, sports have similar amounts of heavy breathing and close contact, and those were not identified in the same way or shut down in the same way as singing programs were. But that meant that for 2 years we didn't recruit. We didn't invite new kids. We kept the numbers small. So right now we have three children that are in 4th and 5th grade, where usually we've had 5 to 6 each grade. And those kids were the ones that were in kindergarten and 1st grade the years of COVID. So I sincerely hope that we will start to see those numbers go back up. But I will say that when I'm feeling really down about the low enrollment at this moment, one of the parents said to me last week, she's like, but Erin, these kids that are here are having such an amazing time. And I really do believe that's true. If you want to feel better about the world, please come to our concerts. It's, I promise that in half an hour of watching these kids sing, you will feel like, okay, we're gonna be all right. Transitioning now to drop-in programs. These are new since we opened in the new building, and we've identified them as a core program, and they're also at the same time a really big area for growth. We've designed these for those who might be unable to commit to regular classes, but who want to be part of a musical community. So you can come when you can and participate without having to commit to a weekly rehearsal or a weekly class or practice in between. On average, we offer 8 to 10 drop-in programs each month. The suggested fee to participate is $15, but again, as always, we offer pay what you can options. And we are also offering a membership model, so for $50, people can attend as many drop-in programs as they'd like and know that they are helping with a sustaining contribution to the Grinnell School of Music. So the current programs we have are Community Drum Circle, which is pictured on the left here, a ukulele club tonight at 7, sing-along musical theater, which is when we give you a big, huge binder of show tunes and a list, and we have one of our amazing pianists who learns them all, and we shout out which ones we want to sing and sing them together, and sometimes it's a total mess, and it's really fun. We have a pop-up choir, which we'll kind of demonstrate today, which is when we basically learn a song in an evening. We have a Celtic jam session, so this is a semi-facilitated jam session, which means we have a teacher there who says, hey, where are you at? And if you say, I know 2 chords, I know G and D, and that's it, he will say, all right, in this song, you're gonna play G now. Now switch to D. And so that teaching people how to jam, because a lot of instrumentalists especially love to jam with friends, but when you don't know how to do that, that's a really intimidating thing, to just walk into a room with a bunch of musicians and you're supposed to figure it out how. And so the idea of this is, we know that there are people in our community who, might play the ukulele or mess around on a penny whistle or whatever, and this creates an opportunity for them to make music in a group setting, regardless of what level they're at. So we encourage you to check out these drop-in programs. The other program that I mentioned on my core programs, but just realized I didn't do a slide for it, is Grinnell Green Room, which is our musical theater summer camp, which we've now run for, this will be our 5th year, and that's for children in grades 3 to 8, and it's a whole lot of fun. We write and perform an original musical. We use songs, but change the words, existing songs, and change the words to match our story, and it really gives children ownership over the creation of a show. They also make the sets, learn about lights, learn about all of the elements of theater. So the idea of that program is that even if you're not sure you want to be standing in the center of the stage as the star, there's still a place for you in theater. So what's next? Right now we're doing a lot of assessing community needs, assessing which of our programs are working, which of our programs are sustainable financially on their own, which ones need additional fundraising support, all of these things. We're really quite early in that transition from campaign mode to operating mode, as we are actually only in our 2nd year of programming. In some ways, we're reaching capacity. So which is awesome, on certain days, weekday afternoons, we can't squeeze in another lesson between 3:30 and 7 because we have 4 teaching spaces and 4 teachers, and those teachers are back-to-back booked with students coming in for lessons, or we have a group class squeezed in there. But in other ways, we have room to grow. There are lots of exciting possibilities and opportunities, and a lot of what's next has to do with both extending awareness of Grinnell School of Music, as I mentioned before, that we are more than just music lessons, extending that awareness into our community, and meeting the community where it's at and finding out what demand there is for certain programs and what those programs might look like. So here are some of our challenges. That's the fun stuff, right? So the first challenge, and this will be an ongoing one, and we're committed to addressing this challenge, is financial accessibility. We want to sustain a pay what you can policy. That's a pretty heavy lift. But it's vital to who this organization is, and I'm proud to say we have a board of directors who is really committed to this mission. But just to give you a sense of what that looks like, around 20% of our students across all of our programs use some amount of financial aid. I anticipate that as our programs grow, so too will that need. I think that right now, if you knew you wanted piano lessons for your child, you found them. The people often that want piano lessons for their child are of a certain socioeconomic class and are going to pay for those piano lessons, and that is a value and an investment that they already are making. As we grow to reach more and more students are going to come from families and backgrounds for whom that may not be possible. And right now they're thinking, piano lessons aren't something I can afford. And we want them to think piano lessons are something I can have. It doesn't matter how much we can pay. The Grinnell School of Music will make that possible. So we anticipate that as more and more students find us, this 20% number will go up. Right now, again, and these numbers are based on newish data, but right now, that commitment to financial, to pay what you can programs amounts to an estimated average of a 15% reduction in monthly revenue. So when we look at what we are bringing in our earned revenue, we know it would be about 15% more if all those students were paying full pay. Does that make sense? Yeah. And this is supported entirely by ongoing fundraising. So we are really lucky to have the support of the Vosburg Music Fund, which exists to help cover music lessons as well as instrument rentals and things for children in local band programs. So that is a vital source of support for this program, but that program has, of course, parameters. For example, it's designed for children 17 and under and within Grinnell. And we, as I mentioned, are serving children and families from many communities around Grinnell as well. And also we provide this pay what you can access for adults as well. We recognize that people might be living on a fixed income. There might be a lot of reasons why adult students want to take part in our programs, and the kind of financial support that the Vosburg Fund provides is not typically available for adult students, and so we provide that. And so that is a huge part of our ongoing fundraising, is to support and maintain this Pay What You Can program. I've mentioned a few times that we don't want to just be private lessons. One of the reasons for that is because, to be perfectly honest, group lessons present a substantial opportunity for growth, both in terms of impact. They allow us to reach more students, but we can also accommodate more students at a more affordable rate and still have more earned revenue potential. So growing our group classes is a critical part of our mission going forward. I've listed a few of the kinds of programs that we either have offered or would like to offer or feel like we have the capacity within our current instructor team to offer. So those include world music drumming, music and movement, music theater classes, music production, so learning, I mean, Sarah and I need that help, right? Like learning how to use all the chords and the buttons and the knobs to make music. GarageBand, which is a free program on all Apple devices, which actually is quite a powerful program for digitally creating music and doing and manipulating sound. Music theory, rock band coaching. So these are some of the kinds of group classes that we want to invest in and grow in the future. And then other growth opportunities include ongoing collaborations. This is a big one. And I've put our pictures of the Nutcracker kids here because that was something we're really proud of. We are working on enhancing those collaborative possibilities, working with Ballet Des Moines, Grinnell Area Arts Council, and Grinnell College to present the Nutcracker here in Grinnell. We're also being approached by a lot of other collaborators, to be honest. People want to work with us. Link has approached us to provide drumming classes and to help with their music programming at Link. Circe, which provides, among other services, a day program for adults with intellectual disabilities, have approached us to offer a weekly drumming class for their clients. We would love to meet that need, but we don't have the resources. We don't have the funds, to be perfectly honest, to hire, train, and retain a facilitator for that program. And obviously, when we're collaborating with another nonprofit like Circe, that would depend on both. They don't have the money to pay us for it either, so that would depend on fundraising. So these kinds of programs and this kind of growth requires us to recruit and train and new people. It requires us to manage the organizational oversight and relationship building, and so we are actively seeking funding for those. One of the big areas of growth is just promotion, getting the word out there about what we do and creating more awareness in the community, again, that we're not just music lessons. This is also a resources issue, because right now this is me in the administrative chair, and I don't necessarily have time to do the kind of marketing and communications and promotion I'd really like to do. We also have some more low-hanging fruit for growth. We need to increase daytime, evening, and weekend programs. So 3:30 to 7, as I mentioned, is packed, which is great, with kids coming after school for piano lessons. But we have a beautiful building. We have tons of room for adult student learners to come during the day, for homeschool classes to come during the day. We have rehearsal space, beautiful rehearsal space that we could that we want to make available to other groups in the community. So if you're a music group or another kind of group that doesn't necessarily need our resources in terms of instruction, but wants to use our rehearsal space and our equipment, we would love to grow that area. Lectures and recitals, we are working on launching a recital series in our space. And regional outreach, as I mentioned, we have students coming from Brooklyn, Newton, Montezuma, Tama, Toledo, and we've actually had some interest from Marshalltown in offering some of our programs there. So we're exploring these kinds of opportunities. But to be perfectly honest, the thing that is stopping us is resources. And as we continue from the transition from campaign to operations, we're still working on getting our story out there and raising those resources. So I actually just want to close with a quote from one of our amazing collaborators. And this because this isn't a challenge that's unique to us. Across the nonprofit sector, and especially in the arts, this is a story that we need to tell. We are tremendously grateful for the support that we've had for equipment and our building and our scholarship fund. But in order to grow and in order for nonprofit arts programs especially to continue to be successful in our community, we need our donors and supporters to understand that investing in people is required. Fundraisers say, that's not sexy, right? People want to give to help us buy a new piano. That's a project that people can go, okay, yes, I can see what my money is going to. But on our side, on the administrators and nonprofit arts side, we're all going, what we really need is more time and more people to help us get programs so that we can use that grand piano. And so this quote from my friend and colleague Blair Massa, who we were incredibly privileged to partner with for the Nutcracker, she said, "I propose that funders consider human resources as the new shiny objects when planning their philanthropic impact." I think this sums up exactly where our challenge is as an organization transitioning from a capital campaign to an operating, to a sustainable operational outlook. So, on that note, I want to show you our upcoming events. I mentioned a couple of these. You can find these on our website, but if you'd like, you can snap a picture right now, and then you have it all in one place. But We have all of these things coming up this month. We have ukulele club, pop-up choir, Celtic jam, musical theater workshop, which is a camp for middle schoolers during March break, The Greatest Showman sing-along movie. I didn't mention those, but that's when we put a movie on a big screen and we put on the captions and we watch the movie and we have popcorn, but we're allowed to sing along. So for those of us who, are always the person in the theater going, or at the musicals, that's me. This is this is our time to shine, folks. You can come and belt it out and nobody's gonna be mad at you. And then we have a musical theater sing-along, which is again the one with the binders and we yell out tunes, and drum circle every Sunday at 2:30. So that's quite a lot coming up just this month. But we have a few more minutes, so let's sing. The song is Walking on Sunshine. So I think many of you will know that.
Sarah, can you help me pass out the binders? Whoops. That's okay. Sorry. Oh, good.
I dropped mine and felt bad, and then Sarah dropped hers. So
Okay,
I feel
good.
it's bad anymore.
Okay, great. Super.
You may need to share. There's a limited number of binders. If you don't read music, just pass it to somebody who does, and just shout along as you can, because, yes. Oh, you didn't have to do it, sorry. Yeah, please do. Yeah, so please look along someone's shoulder. I should have put the words up on the screen now that I'm realizing I should have done that. So at Pop-Up Choir, we take an hour to do this, what we're gonna do in like 5 minutes here. So right now, typically what I do is actually teach by rote. So I sing a song, sing a line, people sing it back. So that even if you don't read music, you can learn by rote. And again, that takes a little while. For today, I think we're probably just gonna have time to sing along. So yell it out loud, and we'll try it a couple times. And if there's a little bit of time to work on sections, we will. But let's give it a whirl. Richard's really good at playing. All right, let's give this a try. We did it! So let's just, and basically we do that to the end, essentially. So, well done, folks. Again, normally I would teach you that much slower, so I hope that, you're not like, oh, I will never come to that sing-along because they expected me to learn a song in 2 minutes. We did that in over an hour. So we would go phrase by phrase. I'd teach one line at a time. We build the harmonies depending on who's there. So please don't let that discourage you. It's meant to encourage you to come. And really it's about the feeling of singing together, not about what it sounds like. It's not about perfection. And that's what we mean when we say participatory community music making. Sarah, we probably don't have time for questions because we were a little late starting.
We probably don't, but maybe we'll take one. Any questions? Thank you, Erin. Any questions? You even put in a song that had a coda. Man, we're really putting our music.
Yeah, that was poor planning.
It's okay. No, I was impressed. Any questions for Erin?
Where is there
Stay in
parking?
touch.
Yes. Where do you park to go there? I mean, it's just an alley, right? Is there
Oh,
parking?
There's a lot of street parking. So right in front of our building is all street parking. In front of Ramsey Weeks is street parking. We unfortunately do not have dedicated parking, but there is a lot of street parking right there. And then there is a ramp from the sidewalk onto our alley. And so if you can pull up, get somebody to drop you off, then it's fully accessible. You can wheel right in, cane right in, whatever you need. It is fully accessible. But yeah, we don't have our own dedicated parking. It's street parking. But a lot of parents and families get someone to drop them off. They pull through the alley. People get out, keep going down the one-way alley, and then park.
Which is great. I do want to remind everyone, thank you for the question, because that's very important as we get into the building and get active with the Grinnell School Music. Erin has left some information out on the table as you leave. There's also a sign-up sheet for your email list, so
Yes.
please write your email out there on that sheet and get signed up for that. Take some brochures you have. Maybe I could go back and get, so people can take a picture if they want those upcoming classes
Yeah.
too.
While Sarah's doing that, can I just get you to do a huge round of applause for Richard Tanimoto, who's one of our piano teachers here? And who I texted yesterday and was like, hey, Richard, can you play Walking on Sunshine tomorrow morning? And here he is. So he's amazing. Thank you so much, Richard.
So yes, thank you so much, and thank you for everyone singing along and having fun this morning. Will you please help me thank Erin as well for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'll get out of you next if you do want to ask any questions.
Next week for bucket courses, Dr. J.R. Paulson is going to give a presentation on Venus. He is going to talk about both the planet and stories of Venus over the years. I won't say yet which ones, but a little bit of, mainly about the planet, and then a little bit of why it's named Venus as well. So I will see you next week here at 10 o'clock for bucket courses. Thanks so much.